decade of experience, what I would call the paradox of bamboo. I want you to see how thin this is. Hey guys, welcome back to the shop this week. My name's Jody, and today we're going to cover everything you need to know about bamboo backings and how to apply them to your bow. This is irregardless of your belly material, length, style, all of those things, but it is going to include one thing that if you get right, it virtually guarantees your success when you put bamboo on the back of your bow. Let's dive in. I started keeping track or record of my bows starting in 2015. We're at 2024 now. I was building bamboo backed bows long before I started recording them because I had so many issues getting those bows to work right. They were almost impossible to tiller. I could never seem to avoid failures in terms of compression, all of these things. And as a matter of fact, I never had compression problems until I started dealing with bamboo bows. So here we go, 2015, and these numbers are the year and the bow number that I made. Here's 3, 4, 7, 8. There's a 2016, but here's 2015, 9, right? 10. I recorded every build I ever did for years, and you can see the years just starting to stack up here. I managed to build all of these bows. I filled a spiral notebook with notes through 2021 and continued to build even to today. Guys, what you're about ready to get is a brain dump of a decade of experience of working with bamboo. If you recognize this sheet of paper, I want to thank you for being with me prior to now. A sincere thank you for following the channel, because this particular diagram is highlighted in a video that I did quite some time ago, but was really too drawn out. I think that a lot of people probably stopped watching the particular video that this piece of paper was in simply because I talked too much, like I am right now. So guys, if you recognize it, thank you. I appreciate you. But let's look at this for the information that it's giving us. So what I have done over here is drawn out basically the cross section of a piece of bamboo, right? And on the right hand margin, kind of given some diagrams with regard to how width affects thickness in your bamboo. Okay, so here's where the paradox of bamboo truly exists. We know, or have been taught, or conditioned to understand as bow builders, that the wider your limb, the greater the compression resistance that you have on your belly. Okay. This is not untrue, but when you start applying bamboo to the equation, you very quickly run into trouble. Very quickly run into trouble. And what happens is, on a very wide limbed bow, the amount of bamboo that is required to get from edge to edge, this particular piece right here, okay, is 1 5/8 inch thick, or wide rather. Okay, we can't even get to 1 3/4 inches wide. Like, we're talking a 1 1/2 inch wide bow here. And that is very narrow for a self bow for sure. But in general, right? When applied to a wide limb, you have like the thickest amount of bamboo. So here you can see I've drawn it out. To get the width, the trade-off is that it's very thick, right? Where, you know, the narrower you go, the thinner the piece of bamboo gets. And you are able to, with a thinner piece, give more space, or more, give the ratio, I guess, of the limb. You give more thickness to the belly. And this is what you have to make happen here, is you have got to give enough belly wood to resist the compression forces of the bamboo. So when you're dealing with, let's say like a second string wood, we'll say hickory. I kind of consider hickory to be a transitional type of wood in reality, but let's say like white oak, maple. I would not include ash. Ash would crush. Perhaps elm. Okay, these sorts of things. You want the thickness of your bamboo to be as thin as possible, absolutely as thin as possible, along a ratio of like 1:4 to 1:5. Okay, thickness of bamboo to thickness of belly, and that is truthfully the only way you're going to have enough material on your belly to combat the compressive forces of the bamboo. As you get a little bit wider, you end up in this kind of 1:2 to 1:3 sort of ratio here. And I would say that you can probably get away with this particular ratio in more traditional type bow woods like Osage, perhaps yew. Ipe could stand up to something like this. But when you get incredibly wide, like you believe that you are getting a lot of resistance in terms of compression with the width, but you are just outmatched on the thickness of the bamboo. No matter how wide this belly is, you're just going to crush it at a 1:1 to 1:2 ratio. I have not tried it, but my suspicion is if ever you're going to see Ipe crystal, this is when it would happen. I've never actually seen Ipe crystal, but my suspicion is in this scenario, it would. And if ever there's a piece of wood out there that would be able to resist this ratio, Ipe would be it. So then we come down here to how do we mitigate the compressive forces of bamboo on a bow where we really do require a wide limb, right? Like we need every ounce of width we can get on the belly to resist this bamboo, but we also need the thickness, right? Not necessarily thickness, but we need that ratio to be correct in this range right here where it's 1:4, 1:5. We can do things like decrown the belly stave, where the width of the bamboo, let's say that this is 1.5 inches here, and we've got it trapped out here so that we can get a belly that could potentially be as much as 2 inches wide. But we're not dealing with this scenario on a real wide piece of bamboo. We're actually dealing with a piece of bamboo that is in effect narrower than the width of the belly lamination, or the belly lam, or the main bow, right? The other thing that we could try to do, I've done this only one time and I would caution against this, is decrown the bamboo. The problem with decrowning bamboo is that you're actually taking the most dense portions of the bamboo out of the equation. The density of the bamboo, and you can even just kind of see it here. Notice how it gets darker toward the rind of that bamboo, right? Like it's real dense out here on this outer layer and gets less so as you approach the inner rind. It is not as strong when you take this surface off. So you're doing two things when you decrown it. You're losing the most dense portions of the bamboo, which again reduce its compressive forces, but you're losing a lot of the integrity of the material when you do that. So you want to be very careful when doing it. I've done it one time, I was successful with it, but again, I would tell you that is probably the least desirable way to mitigate the overpowering nature of a bamboo in terms of compressive forces. All right, so this is in effect what I would call the paradox of bamboo. It is less compressive, less detrimental to your belly the narrower it gets. And a wide belly in this scenario is just a recipe for disaster. And guys, I'm going to show you next, in the processing of your bamboo, the single most important factor that will differentiate a bow from being marginal at best and very difficult to tiller to being almost automatic tiller and destined for success. This is what you need in your finished backing strip. It needs to be perfectly tillered before you apply it to the back of your bow. Bamboo is such a formidable backing that any problems with your bamboo back is going to manifest itself in the tillering of the belly of your bow. It just projects straight through to the finished product. And guys, if you want more information on how I process these bamboo backing strips, take a look at this video right here. It's one of the very first videos I ever did, but everything contained in that video holds true to this day. Give it a watch and it'll show you exactly how to come up with this particular bow backing.